It seems very apparent that Thorin has some ongoing issues with Astralis and Dev1ce and the likes of anyone inside that organization as well, due to some suspicious things going on behind the scenes, which we have talked about. That war continues to wage on. As the Astralis roster continues to grow, so too do the arguments and tweets that Thorin is making about the organization. If you guys missed our wrap-up video about the Dev1ce and Thorin beef and banter, a little bit back and forth that happened just this past week, a quick summary of all of that was pretty much we had Thorin calling out Dev1ce for being narcissistic, for not expecting backlash about the recent results of Astralis and their brand new roster, also going on to call him a loser amidst some other things. Now Dev1ce, in his fire back, he actually comments on Thorin being the esports historian, having to be edgy to stay relevant, and also calls him 37 years old. That does continue, though, as just this past day, Thorin continues on Twitter against the Astralis organization in a feud that, yes, jokes aside, I know we like joking about this kind of stuff. I find it very funny as to how these two responded to each other, and frequently we see when players do respond to Thorin, it's not necessarily in the most professional of light. Usually when you call someone 37 years old, it's not the best argument and take against someone. So typically when players do respond out of frustration, that kind of feeds right into Thorin and his arguments, and we now see that argument continuing on. And so I do take this very seriously, especially Thorin has waged a lot of wars in his career. Most recently, though, that being against TSM, it took TSM less than 1 week to make grave mistakes following the calling out of, Richard Lewis did this, Thorin did this as well. Several others called out TSM for that conflict of interest. It took them just days to make grave mistakes and feed right into Thorin and his entire argument. And I would say he won that war. He won that battle against TSM during the TSM Holy War. Now is what is also becoming the Astralis Apocalypse, as he is calling it. It does make me very interested what he knows and what is going to come out about this organization if it does. But besides all of that, the Twitter banter does continue between Thorin and Astralis. As he first stated, imagine being so corrupt that you let your org lie about why your team is now full of inferior stand-ins, but simultaneously so arrogant and self-absorbed you expect to be able to play, lose like a tier 2 team, and then not be memed on or criticized. Astralis played 6 maps in Blast Showdown. 1 team in each group failed to make playoffs. Only reason Astralis made playoffs is because they won their lone 1 out of 6 maps against a nobody Portuguese team, and this gave them a head-to-head tiebreaker over every same team. How can you expect Astralis players to stand up for their player rights in CSPPA, that's the CSGO Player Association, when they won't even stand up for them within their own org and for their own teammates? Imagine bragging about how much you've elevated the field in your innovative sports integrations, all the while as your players beg you for time off and you tell them to get their effing noses back to the grindstones. Oh, until they literally invoke legal means to forcibly get time off. What do you do then? Spin that as something you've decided, an epiphany you've come to, and moralize to others about how everyone needs to take this matter seriously? And he continued, Astralis are a bunch of nerds from a bubble by the way they imagine they can F with a man's money, and that'll be the end of it. This is but the beginning. You can even find liars in the name Astralis. And lastly, the point of me recording this video, to go along with the TSM Holy War, welcome to the Astralis Apocalypse. The unveiling is already underway. And so when it comes time for the initial argument between Dev1ce and Thorin, you can think of what you want. This is now ongoing, and I really do. When it comes time for these wars, you got to respect what the potential is for Thorin and what he knows. And given recent times and the way that things handled out with TSM, you got to wonder what exactly he does know about Astralis and their organization and their players. That's all I got to say about that, guys. You, of course, can choose whatever side you do want to take on this, but I am not taking it too lightly, okay? Yes, it is very fun to joke about these two bantering back and forth about each other. One calling, an obvious champion, one of the best CSGO players of all time. Obviously, Thorin calling Dev1ce a loser. You say, okay, that's a very invalid argument. But the same could be said about Dev1ce saying that he's an esports historian, he's 37 years old, and using that as a reasoning to argue with Thorin. That can also be seen as pretty invalid. I've seen a lot of tweets out there saying that's a fact though. Thorin is 37 years old. Yeah, it might be a fact, but it's not really an argument in this case. And that's just me trying to be fair on this as well. There are certainly things that are going to keep on coming out about Astralis, and we cannot expect Thorin to give up on this one. He took down TSM, in my opinion, over the past week, many weeks back now, I guess I should say, with a conflict of interest. Will he take down Astralis? And whatever he does know, we will find out slowly as it does apparently continue, and this is only, according to Thorin, the beginning of what is unfolding. Until next time, hope you guys all enjoy, though. As per usual, stay hydrated, all right, folks? Drink your water, drink your coffee. I'll see you guys back here next time.